You know, you mentioned throughout this podcast the feminism and feminists. Like, what are your general thoughts on this kind of feminism movement that's been taking place?
I think that when I looked at feminism, and I don't claim to be an expert on feminism, I don't think that's fair. I think my job here is to present what I know of Islam. And so I would say, I would definitely put that disclaimer out there. But from what I have understood about feminism is that feminism gathers together lots of different movements and lots of different ideologies and lots of different severity within that, and different perspectives and different levels of extremism and extremity, right, to be honest, are gathered all in together. There are certain things that feminists wanted to achieve at some point, be it first wave feminism or second wave feminism, that Islam already gave them in the beginning. And so what we say is that feminism there was not really the answer, but the answer again was actually Islam. Islam already gave, for example, you have some situations where a woman is effectively treated like property, like she's basically inherited, and that she is considered to be a slave to her husband and things like that. Islam already gave women those rights. So the right to break out of that was given to them by Islam. They don't need a movement to do that. And there are a lot of things in there that are not compatible with Islam, in all honesty. And there are some things in there that reach such an extreme that they even break the rules that feminism was built upon. These issues now, that this modern agenda, which takes the choice of a woman away, the choice to cover be a woman, the choice to be just a woman. No, you're not allowed to be a woman. You have to be a man. Until you are a man, you cannot be a feminist. That really in reality is taking far, far away from what's going to bring a woman happiness. And ultimately, men and women, our happiness is in servitude. As soon as you leave servitude to Allah, you end up with servitude to creation. And that inevitably is usually going to end up with a woman in servitude to a man. Because at the end of the day, that's how society has worked for the longest time. When you have servitude to Allah, that's the only way to break out from that. Because that woman says, look, I might be obeying you in what is good, but the minute you tell me to do something that Allah is not happy with, no, I'm sorry. My servitude is to Allah, not to you. And that's ultimately what's going to bring men and women happiness. And people will search for happiness in other things, but wallah, ultimately they realize that they don't find that happiness except in servitude to Allah. And that's what we're calling to. We're not calling to women serving men, but we're calling to men and women being servants of Allah and living the way that Allah has organized your life. However that is, with the flexibility that's in there, but living within the framework that Allah Azza wa Jalla has sent down for organizing and structuring our lives. And ultimately, that might mean that one is in charge and one isn't, but at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the opportunity to get near to Him and the opportunity for reward. So I personally see that I wouldn't discount every single goal of feminism, right, but I would just simply say like every ism, it has to be just taken and compared to the book and the sunnah. And what you find is that the vast majority of things in there are incompatible with the Quran and the sunnah. And you actually find now when we talk about, whether we're into fourth wave, new wave, latest version of feminism, 4.0, ultimately you find things that are, we talk about all this issue of pressure on people to change their gender and, all this kind of stuff that's going on. Wallah, it's gone to a level that if the first wave feminists saw it, wallah, they would declare themselves free from it. Wallah, they would say, we are free from this. We have nothing to do with it. But in the beginning, there may have been certain objectives which pushed them towards that movement, which were actually given to them by Islam. But the answer to that is not feminism. The answer to that is actually Islam. Because whenever you make a system for yourself to achieve something, you actually realize that system falls short of what Allah already gave.